Hey guys, it's Scott with scottieb Cards, and in this video I want to show you how much money you will lose or make on 2024 Topps Dynasty. 2024 Topps Dynasty was released a few weeks ago. We have now seen a good sample size of sales on eBay of the top rookies, the top cards, the top chases, Ohtani cards, all of this to where I can make this video. So in this particular video, I went through and watched a ton of different videos of Topps Dynasty openings. I compiled all of those cards into a list, and I was able to get a sample size that was significant enough where we can get an idea of how much money you will make or lose on a box of Topps Dynasty. I know some of us can't afford to open Dynasty, myself included. I don't think the risk is worth the reward, but I still think it's intriguing to see what this looks like for the average Topps consumer. And honestly, the results were very surprising to me for the better. You do better on this product than I anticipated. But either way, Topps Dynasty is Topps' most high-end product. I actually ran a poll recently on this and I said, fill in the blank. Topps Dynasty is a top blank set that Topps makes every year. And 21% said the best set, 49% said the second to third best set. So we have 70% saying it's a top 3 set. The other only 8% said it's outside of the top 5. And then I said Topps Dynasty RPAs or rookie patch autographs are a top blank rookie card for the average rookie. And almost 90% said basically a top 5 card, with 64% saying a top 1 to 3 card. So Topps Dynasty is here to stay. And so we're seeing this price of these boxes increase every single year. The MSRP started like at $350. It's now $1,099 this year from Topps.com, which is the most expensive, up from $899 in 2023, I believe. Either way, it's more expensive. So let's discuss how I went about this particular video and what data we're looking at. I watched 200 boxes opened by Layton Sports Cards and Blez Baseball. That's 20 cases each, which gives us a decent sample size that's significant enough, which we'll talk about. And I added all of the cards into a Google Sheet and looked up recent comps on eBay. I assumed comps very high. Some cards haven't sold yet, but I explained my thought process and where I comped them and compared to other rookies and so forth. And on top of that, I tallied up each total box value and put them in descending order of value. So this way we could see what the average was. I want to discuss what you will get in a box of Topps Dynasty for those that aren't as familiar with the product. You get one card, $1,099 from MSRP, and about $1,800 on the secondary market right now. You get one card. That card is either numbered to 10, numbered to 5, or a 1 of 1. There's a few random cards, like there's a Nolan Ryan numbered to 8 and a Wyatt Langford numbered to 4. Either way, they're mostly out of 10, out of 5, and a 1 of 1. It is either a patch autograph of a rookie, current star player, or a Hall of Fame caliber player. It could also be a dual patch autograph, a triple patch autograph, or a cut autograph. I will also note that we have dual Logo Man autographs this year, which is probably the best chase in the entire product. And again, the box costs about $1,099 MSRP or $1,750 on eBay and aftermarket. And realistically, you did not get the drop from Topps.com. It went very, very quickly. I will also note some cards, even though I say one card here per box, some boxes had 2. About 7% or 14 boxes that were opened had a redemption. And Topps did a great job. If there's a redemption, you also get a second card that's still encased. So you get 2 cards in those boxes, which is a huge win and makes this a lot better for you as a consumer if you're lucky to get that roughly 10% chance of a redemption. So what is statistical significance? Basically, most statisticians agree that the minimum sample size to get any kind of meaningful results is 100. Well, I went above and beyond this year and did 200. I was gonna do 300, but I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't take it. I couldn't listen to Blez and Layton that much longer. They're both fine with me, but either way, it was a lot of data. So let's discuss what is a good case. This is a case of 5 cards, and this was a pretty solid case. What they got in this case was an Ohtani Ichiro dual patch autograph. You had the 1 of 1 Mike Piazza, which is a really great patch down here. Both these patches are great. Dodgers patches are very hard to get good, believe it or not. Go look at the uniforms. It's very just red on the back for the numbers and then Dodgers in blue. There's not much like you can see with the Mariners logo here. Then we have a Sal Frelick rookie patch autograph, a Gunnar Henderson second year card, and a Jose Altuve patch autograph. These 3 aren't as exciting, very much carried this case with the 2 on the left, but this is a good case where you make your money back. These are the best cards that I saw pulled in regards to like the coolest, most significant. Here's 3 1-of-1s, Jung-Ho Lee. We have Jackson Holiday and Jackson Merrill. We had an Ellie out of 5, which doesn't sound that exciting, but he only has like 3 cards or 3 different, out of 10, out of 5, and 1-of-1s this entire set. And I've only ever seen this one pulled. I haven't even seen the base cards of his pulled. Then we have an Aaron Judge 1-of-1. Here's a dual Logo Man, a Pete Alonso, and David Wright. All very cool cards. Here is the worst case I I saw open. I did watch 95 boxes or 19 cases from Leighton Sports Cards and 100 boxes or 20 cases through Blez, but I needed one more case, so I watched Pac-Man's box. And for those that claim Pac-Man gets the best stuff from Topps, that's not true. He had the worst return of a case in the entire video and sample size. I will have a link to all of that so you can see my work and see that that's true. This Ichiro is like a $500 to $700 card. This Cal Ripken Jr. is like a $300 to $500 card. Mason Wynn's probably close to $300 to $500, maybe a little bit more, $600 maybe. And these two over here aren't worth a ton. So about $2,000 to $2,200 of value for Pac-Man. Sorry, that's not the best. But on top of that, Hall of Famers are down. This happens because they print the same players every year. Yes, they might like change it up, like Larry Walker wasn't in here this year, but he was the last few years. But either way, we have Scott Rowland selling for less than $100, which is brutal. If you open this box, you get a card worth $92. See this jumbo Tom Glavine down here go for $228. And then just across the board, not what you would expect. Even a Reggie Jackson 1/1 with a nice big chunky patch of the, what is that? The laundry tag did not pay off the aftermarket box price of a box. So it can be a challenge. Mostly you're looking for rookie patch autographs or a couple very big players or 1/1s with really, really nasty patches. So let's discuss the financial breakdown and how much money you would make or lose on this product. On average, you would make $1,209.57. This is shocking to me because it was not this high last year. Last year was about $800 on average. This year with Ohtani, I think there were 4 Ohtani Dodgers cards in here. Those each go for about $13,000. So that average is higher. Then we did see quite a few 1/1s. More 1/1s this year were pulled than the previous year. It felt like the pull odds and pull rates were just better this year. Maybe it's because I had a bigger sample size to see it from. Either way, the average value and the market on Dynasty is higher than it's ever been. People are starting to accept this as the best set that Topps makes, and the secondary prices are higher. These sales are also pretty early in the life cycle of this particular product. But average is not always the truth. What you want to pay attention to is the median value. The median value is $463. This is a lot more expected, meaning if you bought MSRP, about 40% return or so, which isn't terrible for a box price. I know that sounds bad, but for most boxes, if you got 40 to 50% of your value on average, it's probably what Topps is looking for. The 25th percentile, which I believe would be the 50th best or worst box, so number 50 on like 1 being the lowest and 200 being the highest, got you $261 of value. The 100th box got you $463 of value, and then 75th percentile is $1,500 in value, so you're making more than MSRP here. The 85th percentile was $2,100 in value, so that would be, what is that, 160 something or so, maybe a little bit higher, 170. And the 90th percentile is $3,500. So 60 boxes or 30% made more than the pre-release price of the box of $1,099, and 40 boxes or 20% made more than the current market price at $1,800. This is better than last year. Last year, these numbers were significantly worse, so it's very interesting to see. So the break-even percentile was 70th percentile for the original MSRP, which means 30% make money and 70% lose money. Still not great for you, but better than I would have anticipated. And with that being said, I do want to point out, though, very interestingly, the increase in cost of Dynasty over the years. So in 2020, the price was $374.99, which, if we were opening this product at that price tag, I would open it all the time because you'd make so much money. And this is because we're now seeing the cost of cards go up. We're seeing the cost of Topps making these cards go up. We're seeing a lot. I do think they're making a little bit more than they would have been at this $374 price for sure. But we saw then a few years later in 2022, they were recognizing Dynasty as one of the best sets. They leaned into that. So now it's $824. And then 2023 was $899. And supposedly this year it was $1,099. So we are seeing the Dynasty price increases continue to go up, and it sold out instantly at $1,099. So it's one of those things where it might even be more expensive next year, and Topps is just making a ton of money on one of their flagship sets. I'm calling this a flagship set, not in the traditional way of Topps flagship, but one of their main sets they're putting a lot of time and effort into. I will note that Topps is really leaning into the Dynasty brand. Look at the Shohei Ohtani 50-50 logo man that they did from his 50-50th game, and Clayton Kershaw's 3,000th strikeout game used logo man from his pants from his 3,000th strikeout game. They are really leaning into Topps Dynasty as the premier brand right now. So takeaways from this particular year, this will be in regards to the value as well as the set, and maybe like a little bit of a set review. Dynasty resale values are much higher than last year. People are, I think, accepting and gravitating towards it. There were 14 redemptions pulled, so about 7% hit rate, not get rate, forgive me there, which drastically helped the box values compared to 2023, which was good to see. The patches were weaker this year than ever by far. I saw so many any of this stupid patch. Look at this Altuve card, this little stripe from the shoulder right here, or even from the pants, down the side of their pants. That should never be in this product, and they historically weren't. Topps, if you watch this, don't do that again. That's stupid. These boxes cost way too much for that little line of a patch that you're calling it. Not all rookie cards are created equal this year. I liked this. Wyatt Langford, Ellie De La Cruz. They only had 2 versions. For those that aren't familiar with Topps Dynasty, you usually have about 5 to 9 versions of rookies. So they're different photos, but they're each numbered to 10, 5, and 1. So that's how it's just created. But Ellie only had 2 for his base, and I think he had 1 or 2 other inserts. So this is a good example of how some rookies can be very rare. Juan Soto is an example. He has only 3 variations from his rookie year, and his cards go for a lot more because of that. Also, I want to ask, why do the markers this year just seem worse? It could be a Paul Skeens and Jackson Holiday problem. I actually think it is a Paul Skeens and Jackson Holiday problem. But both of these autographs, they need to take more time so they don't look terrible, because it actually impacts the price of the product and the price of the cards and the value of the cards. So that is a nitpick as a collector. The players probably don't care, but that's something they should probably fix. There were a lot of 1-of-1s this year. I don't know if it was higher hit rates than last year, but it sure seemed like it when I was doing this list. And you can see that if you go look and do a command find function and just type in 1-of-1, you'll see a ton. And we need to get back to action shots of past Dynasty. In the past, this Altuve is actually an action shot. That's good enough. This Paul Skeens is a good enough action shot. But this Jackson Holiday where they just turn their head 10 degrees, that's not a great change. We need better photography on this important set, in my opinion. And on top of that, my final takeaway is the dual logo man cards are fantastic. I think in the future, those could be some of the most sought after cards of this era. And lastly, I want to point out Ohtani Dodgers cards, especially in his Dodgers uniform compared to his Angels uniform, are going nuts. In his Dodgers uniform, the first base card just sold for about $12,000, and his first Angels card sold for about $3,500. So it's one of those things where those are the cards that people are chasing because they go for big money. And those Dodgers rookie cards for Ohtani are starting to be big money cards. So in the comments down below what your thoughts are on 2024 Topps Dynasty and the hit rates. This is very much a breakers product where you're buying into breaks for this price, and I understand that. And for some people it's entertainment, and I understand that. But do you think that a 40% return on average is appropriate? Is that good enough? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.